Morning everyone and welcome back to the vlog. I'm in Aberdeenshire today on the east coast photographing some of this absolutely stunning, dramatic coastline. I was a little bit late this morning, so I had to start photographing pretty quickly, not worry about the videoing, just to capture some of that golden light across the cliffs there. But anyway, here's a couple of shots from earlier on. Okay, so let's rewind and travel back in time to the start of this mini coastal adventure where I'd step out through a shimmering tunnel into a breathtaking rocky landscape that I just wasn't expecting. You never know what you're going to stumble upon when you visit an area for the first time. As a photographer, I'm always looking for an epic landscape that I can revisit time and time again with exciting compositions around every corner. By capturing the scene from above the towering cliff tops, I was able to include the fleeting morning light before losing myself in the network of coves on the coastline below. So I've managed to get my way down onto the coast here. It's really tricky. I didn't manage to get into the area that I wanted to, where there's a pinnacle on the other side. but it looks like a lot of the path has actually fallen away. So I've come down into this little coastal area here. It's absolutely stunning. We've got some beautiful rocks. The waves are coming in. We've got this beautiful coastline. There's some nice light on my right-hand side. So what I've done is I've managed to find this nice little inlet where the water's coming up in and through, the waves are lapping up and then carrying back out again. And when we're photographing coastal scenes like this, we've got a couple of options with our shutter speed. We can go for a quick shutter speed and capture some of that drama and that texture in the water, give it a real dramatic feel to the image, or we can use a longer exposure to soften that image, give it a more art-like feel, maybe a little ethereal with the water lapping out, and that's what I've chosen to do. So what I'm doing is I'm watching these waves coming in and going out, and I'm catching them as they go back out, circle around the rocks. I'm using a ND filter just to help me get that longer exposure, around about 4 seconds. And all I'm doing is just watching the water coming in, going out, and as it goes out, it leaves a beautiful trail, and that's the image that I'm trying to capture. So after what I said about trying to capture that water as it flows out, back out through the rocks, of course I'm battling the tide because that water's coming in all of the time. So the actual times where that water's actually draining out is far and few between. But I've positioned myself around a little bit further here so that I've got these nice rocks that are just scattered to my left with a row of rocks that disappear off towards the pinnacle out there on the edge of the cliffside. So I'm taking a number of, again, short exposures, trying to capture that water as it's going out. My feet are getting pretty soaked, my trousers are wet, but hopefully it will be worth it. Again, I'm shooting on a shutter speed of around about 4 seconds with the neutral density filter on there. And it really is a waiting game, just waiting for that water to come in and then travel back out again. It's, if you shoot on a wide angle lens, you can really get some good scale here with the rocks right in front of the camera. It's a beautiful scene. Anyway, here's the image. A handy tip when you're photographing in salt water is to keep the bottom of your tripod legs out, extended, so that you're not actually putting the joints into the salt water. It's much easier to clean. When you get back, you can give it a hose down. But as soon as you start sliding those legs back up into the tripod itself, you're taking all of that salt water up with it. As well as keeping your camera gear safe, don't forget to look after yourself. I've already been down, you can tell by the wet trousers and the roughed up hands, I've already been down a couple of times trying to beat that tide coming in. So look after your camera gear, but look after yourself as well. You can see just behind me on the left-hand side there, we've got that beautiful sea stack that's just running along the cliff edge. So what I think I'm going to do is get out onto the rocks, get my long lens around about 200 millimeters and shoot a pano of that scene just to capture that water that is splashing up over there. A really dramatic shot quick shutter speed, capture the waves splashing over. Let's go see what we can do. So basically I've got the 200mm lens on here, and what I'm doing is I'm taking about 7 or 8 images just along that cliff face, hoping to catch some of those waves that are shooting up through there. I'm shooting on around about a 60th of a second exposure, hoping to catch some of those little rocks in the foreground as well. But it really is a case of I've got to watch the tide as it's coming up through. So I'll take a number of shots, and then hopefully some of those will have some of that water splashing up the sides of the cliff face there. There's a few birds flying around as well, which would be nice to capture in the image, but I'd need a quicker exposure. So anyway, we better do this quickly because that tide's coming up, and if it turns out any good, here's the shot. A telephoto lens is great for getting into some of that detail, capturing some of those smaller scenes along the shoreline here. Some of these rocks have got some beautiful patterns in them and some really nice colours, and as the water laps over them, it really does give them a vibrant bit of glow to them. And I'm zooming right in and just making small little scenes from some of these patterns. Well, I think that's it for today. I'm just starting to lose some of that light, but it's been absolutely beautiful down on the coast here. If you've enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you're new to the channel, click subscribe and the bell notification button. It really helps the channel and we really appreciate it. And I look forward to seeing you in the next episode of the vlog. Thanks for watching.